Today, we are going to learn what Roy Orbison can teach us about augmented chords. We're going to look at Roy Orbison's crying. What's an augmented chord? An augmented chord is a chord built in major thirds. So what's a major third? A major third on the guitar. So if I play my D note, I go up 4 frets from open, 1, 2, 3, 4. That gives me a major third. So another major third from the 4th fret would be the 8th fret. And then another major third above that would be 12. I'm back to D, the octave. So I have D, F sharp, A sharp, and then D again. So what's interesting about that is the octave has been equally divided. So what's interesting about that is if I stack my D, F sharp, A sharp, and then my D again, let's do it like this. That gives me a D augmented chord. But what's interesting about that is because the octave is equally divided, if I go up 4 frets, 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm now on an F sharp with the same shape, that augmented shape. I have an F sharp augmented chord. And 4 frets above that, 1, 2, 3, 4, I have an A sharp augmented triad. So that D augmented triad could be considered an F sharp augmented triad, or it could be considered A sharp augmented triad. So it could be any of those 3 chords. So in this song, we're going to take the D chord. So this song is in the key of D. So that would mean that the 1 chord is D. The 2 chord would be E minor. 3 chord would be F sharp minor. 4th chord would be G major. 5th chord would be A, or A7. The 6th chord would be B minor. And the 7th chord, C sharp diminished. And then we're back to D. When we take our 1 chord, the D major, he turns it into a D augmented by making the A sharp here, leading us to the G chord, the 4 chord. And then he turns the 4 chord into a minor chord, G minor chord, which is interesting. Which is a cool little device in itself. Borrowing it from the D minor key, he has the G as minor. Beautiful sound in itself. Chord. Normally a 4 chord would be major G. It's nice. It sounds nice going to the minor. All right, so anyway, so what he has happening is we have this A note in the D. So we have that. And then with the augmented chord, the D augmented, it's got that A sharp in there. And then we're going to the G major. Let's do a bar chord. We've got that B note. And then the G minor, flat. It's the same pitch as an A sharp. So we have this little chromatic line happening through the chords. We have this A note in the D chord, leading us, some tension there, leading us to the 3rd of the G chord, and then it's heading back when we flatten that to a G minor, back to the D, back to the 5 of the D. So in the D chord, the 5th note is A. Sharpen the A sharp, G chord, giving us a B, the 3rd, and the G minor, B flat, the leading us back to the D, just leading us into that A. So we have that nice little chromatic line. A sharp, B, B flat, back to the A. So in this case, we had one chord, a D in this case, heading to the G chord, the 4 chord. So he connected them by augmenting, making the 1 chord augmented. So let's try it with the C chord, the key of C. So 1 is C, and A minor is 6. Because that C augmented chord could be considered a G sharp augmented chord, we're gonna do C, C augmented, or G sharp augmented, to A minor, the 6th chord. All right, so here we go with the C chord, augmented, A minor. All right, so that is what Roy Orbison can teach us about augmented chords.